Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I am coming to you live from Downs Field in Brookline, Massachusetts. Here to bring you live coverage of today's high school varsity boys lacrosse contest between the visiting Falcons of the Cambridge Rindge and Latin School and the hosting Brookline High Warriors. Should be a fun Saturday morning contest here today, and I'm not bringing it to you alone today, fans. Joining me on the mic here today for coverage of this game as my color commentator, Brookline High sophomore Nico Wise. Nico, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks as always, Jesse. This should be a good one, but Jesse, this Brookline team really struggled so far this year. 0-9 on the year. They just haven't been able to close out these games and beat some teams we know they're capable of beating, such as the thriller 9-second goal at the end of regulation from Ryan Wilson to tie it against Wilmington, and then in overtime, they didn't have an offensive possession, and they lost that game. And this is just what's really been killing this team and not allowing for this Brookline team to have any win on the year. But for Cambridge here, Jesse, this team on a 2-game win streak, and they're looking to add to a third one as the favorites in this game. But, Jesse, we know this Brookline team can put up a fight, and this would be a great one to get a win. As we know, last year, this is where they got their first win in a double overtime thriller, and we'll see if they can replicate that and get on the win column.
Absolutely right, Nico. Brookline getting the double OT victory in Cambridge against Cambridge last year. The final score of that one, 10-9. On an April 27 game. That was Brookline's first win of the year. Seth Walpowitz, the hero of that one with the double overtime game winner. Of course, he has since graduated, but some of the heroes of that game have returned for Brookline. Ryan Wilson in that game against Cambridge last year, 4 goals and 1 assist to lead the Warriors on his birthday to the victory there. And James Carr also had 3 goals. Carr also had a strong performance earlier this week in a close game at Weymouth that Brookline lost just barely 7-6. Carr had 4 goals in that one. So Carr, Wilson, and the rest certainly going to be looking to put up a strong fight here, see if maybe they can once again get their first win of the season against the Falcons. But Cambridge, like you said, Nico, coming in with a pretty solid record, 4 wins, 5 losses, coming off back-to-back wins, like you said. They were ranked 29th in the most recent MIAA Division I power rankings that came out yesterday morning, while Brookline was ranked 37th. So they're on the outside of the playoff picture looking in, and with an 0-9 start, the odds of them getting back to a 500 record for an automatic qualifier, not strong. So they've got to move their way up in the power rankings if they want a chance here. As you can see, maybe a little bit of distance there across the field. The scoreboard clock there shows we've got a little over 11 minutes before we get this one underway. This game was originally slated for an 11 a.m. start time. We're going to be starting just a few minutes late, not too bad. You know, pretty typical when you got a JV game before it, which we did have a JV game before this one. And so for now, during this pregame portion of our broadcast, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor for today, Esh Dental. You can see their logo there in the bottom middle of your screen. Esh Dental is located right in Coolidge Corner. You can book your next dental appointment with local dentist and BHS sports parent Dr. Brandon Esh for the non-corporate personalized dentistry our community deserves. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eshdental.com to find out more and book your appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to eashdental.com. All of that information in the description section down below. And now, as still waiting on this one for the time being, let's take a look at the rosters for the teams coming into today's game. We'll start over here on our left, wearing black jerseys that must absolutely be cooking them on a hot morning like today, with white jersey numbers, the Cambridge Rindge and Latin Falcons. Going in order of jersey number for the Falcons, first off we have number 2, Colin Foley. Next we have number 4, Jasper Adileta. Number 6, Zach Shea. Number 7, the goalie and co-captain, River Doyle. Number 11, Kamai Green. Number 12, Wiley Welch. Number 13, Lucas Berman. Number 14, Xander Witters. Number 16, Ellis Anderson. Number 19, co-captain Clemens Summersgill. Co-captain number 22, Roy Bellows. Number 27, Oscar Correll. Number 31, co-captain Owen Goldstein. Number 35, Eric Stauffer. And then one player whose number was not listed on the roster we got, so we'll just keep an eye out for any guys that we don't have a number for. That's Luis Vazquez. And the head coach of the Cambridge, Rindge, and Latin School boys lacrosse team is Alex McFerrin. So that's the roster for the visitors. Now we move over to our right, taking a look at the hosting Brookline High Warriors. Warming up here in their white jerseys with dark blue jersey numbers. Going in order of jersey number 4, Brookline. First off, we have a junior, number 1, Craig Addy Haas. Next, another junior, number 2, Benji Keegan McGlynn. A junior, number 3, Leo Johnson. A sophomore, number 4, David Kim. A junior, number 5, Jack Herman. A junior, number 7, Locke Adkins. A senior, number 8, Max Delaney. A junior, number 11, Manny Tolkoff. A junior, number 15, James Carr. A senior, number 16, Billy Bamberg. A senior returning from injury, number 18, Thomas O'Brien. He is taking the jersey number from a currently injured Travis Applebaum. Next, a senior captain, number 19, Ryan Wilson. A sophomore, number 20, Jonathan Nguyen. A senior, number 21, Jonathan Diaz. A sophomore, number 22, Noah Olson. A sophomore, number 23, Jacob Fish. A freshman, number 24, Leo Torres. A sophomore who is unfortunately out for the year with injury, number 26, Buzz Blackburn. A sophomore, number 27, Jamie Cloney. A sophomore, number 28, Waylon Slavin. A sophomore, number 29, Luke Wass. A senior captain and goalie, number 31, Dylan Katz. A sophomore, number 32, Ben Breyer. A sophomore, number 44, Corey Toe. A sophomore goalie, number 45, Malcolm Arnold. A sophomore, number 47, Preston Bayless. A freshman, number 55, Jack Harsfield. And a junior, number 66, Owen Lacey. Head coach of the Brookline High boys lacrosse team is Dan Gardner. So those are the rosters for the teams coming into today. And folks, as always, we encourage audience participation in the live chat here. We've been dropping a few frames here due to Wi-Fi. Sometimes this happens when it gets really hot out. It sometimes affects things. I might try and switch from my phone's hotspot over to Xfinity Wi-Fi, see if that's a little stronger, because it's being a little in and out, which is unusual for it. It's not dropping a ton of frames, but still, I think I might try something different. So I think we're going to cut out the stream for a quick sec here, folks, and I'm going to try switching my network and starting again. So stay with us. Don't go away. It's just going to cut out on you for a minute here. Okay. We are reconnected now. I tried to connect with Xfinity, and it just didn't work there. Not sure what happened, but we're connected with my phone's hotspot. Hopefully that'll stay strong throughout the broadcast. If it doesn't, if any important plays get cut out due to choppy video, please let me know in the live chat, as I can upload a fully recorded version of this broadcast later today after I get home from covering the game. But yeah, sometimes Mother Nature just plays some tricks with my Wi-Fi, and that can happen sometimes on a very hot day. And this is quite the steamer out here at Downs Field, isn't it, Nico?
Yeah, totally, Jesse. And you wonder here if this is going to play a factor for both teams, and especially on the Cambridge side, as they only have 12 players, Jesse. This is compared to the Brookline, who has more than double of what Cambridge had. This Cambridge side might not have many subs, if any, and it could play a factor with this weather, especially on a grass field. There's no shade whatsoever on this field, Jesse. This could swing on Brookline's side here.
That's true, and one of the things, we talked about it a little bit, how Brookline has had some close games and they've just struggled to close them out. You know, when you're getting down into the final minutes of the game and you've been running around all day on a hot day like today, that just little extra bit of juice from being able to bring in your backups and get a breather, and also, quite frankly, to wear a lighter colored jersey as the home team might just be the difference maker that Brookline needs to finally get that number one in the W column for their first win of the year. We will see. All right, Wi-Fi is struggling on us for a minute here. Hopefully it comes back as we're getting ready for the opening face-off here in the first of 4 12-minute quarters. Battling in the face-off, it's still rolling. Jonathan Diaz trying to chase after it, could not corral it. Instead, taken by Cambridge. Opening face-off was collected by number 19, Clemens Summersgill. And now Cambridge going on the attack. Running in with it is number 6, Zach Shea. A pass misses there, and it's going to bounce all the way to midfield. And there's going to be a call. I think it's going to go against Brookline. I think they're going to, I think they're saying, I think here's what they're saying. I think they're saying that Cambridge forced Ryan Wilson's foot to go over the midfield line, and so that's a foul on Cambridge, and so Brookline gets the ball. Ryan Wilson taking off with speed right away, looping around, pass back, misses, but it's recovered off the bounce, and a pass down now for Corey Toe. Nice heads-up recovery by Jack Herman, who now takes the pass. He's up at the top with the ball, flips that one over to Jacob Fish. Fish lost the ball, trying to recover it. He does, and passes away to Herman. Herman approaching, throws the ball down to Wilson. Wilson, the co-captain, coming out the back. Pass misses again. Both of his intended passes have been for Leo Torres, but he's missed both times. Fish now throws it down to Wilson. Wilson spinning off his man, getting doubled, didn't have a clean passing option there. So runs around the back and throws it out now to Manny Tolkoff. Tolkoff jukes, shoots, saved there by River Doyle. Wilson back there to keep it with Brookline.
Yeah, early in this game, and this has been a factor, honestly, with Brookline this entire season. They've been able to retain possession in the offensive zone, and they've done that to start this game. But the question is, can they finish and get the ball in the back of the net?
Manny Tolkoff trying to juke, shoots, skips wide of the net. Wilson still back there, so Brookline will get another look at the net.
Yeah, Tolkov was right there. He went right to left and had a shot on goal, but just a little right.
Wilson picking up speed, coming out the back, and he does it himself. Ryan Wilson puts Brookline on the board first.
Yeah, Ryan Wilson, such a threat in the X, coming out backside behind the net, and we see him do it all time, all throughout this year and last year. He's just been able to use that to his advantage and just cuts around into the left side of the net and just puts it in the back of the net, and Brookline strike first.
Yep, the first few times coming out the back, he tried to go for a pass, didn't quite work out, and then that time he had a little bit more space, a little bit more isolated as the double didn't come, and he took advantage of that.
I'll do it myself, he said.
Exactly. This face-off, a chaotic chase, but it's won by Cambridge, once again picked up by the Falcons, number 11, but his pass goes wild, recovered by number 13, Lucas Berman. Berman running up with it, passes forward to Shea. Shea running across behind the net. Passes out to number 2, Colin Foley. Now they go out to number 11, Kamai Green. Green's pass juggled a bit. Shea couldn't quite pick it up, and instead it's taken away by Max Delaney. Delaney throws it across to Katz, and now Brookline starts working with the ball, but Katz lost it, but not legally, as they're going to call the foul on Owen Goldstein.
Yeah, Goldstein, the leading scorer for Cambridge here. He's been such a threat so far this season and almost had one off of Katz, was just wandered out of his net and just had a little iffy moment there, but Brookline gets out.
Not only do they get out, they get the man-up advantage as a full flag was thrown, and so Goldstein going to head to the penalty area and take a knee there, I believe. And so Brookline with a strong chance to take advantage and perhaps go up by 2 here in the first. Jack Herman walking up with it. Pass to Torres. Throws it to the back. Thrown across. Wilson again. Pass out. Complete. Torres shoots. Kicked away by Doyle as it's going to bounce all the way across midfield. A fight for the ball. Still bouncing around. Still no one can quite pick it up cleanly. And it's picked up by Cambridge. Recovered there by number 12, Wiley Welch. It's Cambridge with a big defensive takeaway, that time off the rebound from the attempted shot by Torres. Looks like it was kicked aside by Doyle on that attempted shot. Number 14, Xander Witters cutting through, shot sails high.
Yeah, Katz did great there, just getting the stick up, bouncing it over. We know how much of an important factor for this Brookline defense as a goalie as he is, and he really keeps Brookline in these games, and another great save there.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure whether that was a save or whether it just sailed high off the shot, but either way, Katz, a talented goalie for this Brookline team. No one can question that. Goldstein spins. Long pass, finds his man, shot missed wide. Witters had another look at the net. Looked like he was going to sneak one through on the bouncer, but it curves wide right. Cambridge staying on offense here. Goldstein looking, pass through traffic, and a shot walled off at close range by Dylan Katz. No question whether that was a save or not. Big stop by Katz off the attempted shot from Welch. But Goldstein, applying the forward pressure, takes the ball away and keeps it with the Falcons. Pass back to Welch at the top. Welch swings it over to Witters. Witters back to Welch. Welch stepping back, perhaps loading up for an approach here. Getting around his defender, help comes, pass misses. Bouncing along, Witters trying to chase it down inbounds, keeps it inbounds as picked up, but a stick goes flying but the loose ball is recovered by Foley. Passes it down to Shea behind the net. Shea running around the back. Shea trying to come around, trying to fight his way through. Gets mauled by several defenders, and the whistle is blown.
Yeah, Brookline not trying to allow anything, but a little too much there, Jesse.
Seems that way. Just a little too physical there, and I'm not sure if we're seeing Craig Haas serve a penalty here. Looks like we are. So now the man-up advantage for Cambridge. Brookline wasn't able to take advantage on their man-up advantage. We'll see if the Falcons can. Berman looks to have the ball to start. Or no, now he does after taking the pass from Foley. Goes up top to Goldstein. Goldstein thought about the shot, pass away. Shot missed wide. Attempted by number 22, Roy Bellows. The long stick midi there. Or is that a long? Maybe it was just the way he was holding it made me think it was a long stick. I actually don't think it is. My mistake. Berman, pass down Foley. Up top Goldstein. Goldstein over to Bellows. Bellows over to Witters. Up top Goldstein again. Back to Bellows. Across Berman. Berman whiffed on that pass. And taking it away for Brookline was number 28, Waylon Slavin.
Yeah, Slavin did well in this Brookline defense. Looking strong early in this game, not allowing anything.
Got to maintain control of the ball, though, as Slavin's pass kind of misses there, and it's going to be scooped up there by Green. Pass back to Doyle. Doyle throws it up the middle to Bellows. Now throws it back to number 16, Ellis Anderson. Anderson pass up, finds his man. That's Welsh. Welch trying to spin off his man, cannot. Gives to Bellows and over to Goldstein. The Falcons maintaining a long time in the Brookline end as Goldstein trying to cut around his defender, cannot. Now gets around his defender, charging in, and he scores. Owen Goldstein, like you said, Nico, the leading scorer for Cambridge, and he ties us up here.
Yeah, did well there. Goldstein got around his defender, shifted toward the center of the net, and just shot it. And Brookline defense kind of let up a little bit there. But like you said, Cambridge had so much possession time in the Brookline defensive zone, and they capitalized there.
Yep. That's why the transition game is important, folks. It's not enough to stop the opposing offense. You've got to get the ball out of your own end and give your offense a chance to start moving with it. Off the face-off, pops out of the pocket there and is picked up by Brookline. Nice recovery by Billy Bamberg, but he lost the ball in transition. Another transition turnover for Brookline as Green picks it up again. Green now running it down. Pass across to Foley. Foley throws it up top to Witters. Across now to Summersgill. Summersgill with the long stick, pass over to Witters. Witters up to Green. Green back to Witters, over to Summersgill. Summersgill pass back through traffic, gets to Goldstein. And now Goldstein serving his options. Coming across the top, starting to pick up speed. Long shot is in. Even with a defender draped all over him, Owen Goldstein with his second goal of the day as Cambridge takes the lead.
Yeah, I don't know if Cats could even see that coming. There was so much traffic in the middle, but Goldstein did well finding a spot back in the net. And again, Brookline down after they got the first goal, and Brookline's going to need something quick because Cambridge's just been retaining all of this possession here, and it's allowing them to get goals.
And it's got to start with the face-off here. Brookline has yet to win a face-off and take it in to the opposing end so far, as they're going to get a chance here. A false start infraction called against Cambridge there. And so now Brookline gets to work with it. Jacob Fish going to take it into the attack end as Brookline sets up on offense. Pass to Wilson. Wilson from behind the net, pushed back and passes over to Tolkoff. Tolkoff collides with the ref briefly. Now going to try his approach. Cutting around his defender, tries a shot, blocked again. I think it was kicked again by Doyle, who's had a couple of kick saves early. Rebound recovered by Herman, pass to Wilson, juggled briefly, but now he's coming out of the back, got a bit of an opening, pass to Tolkoff, cuts around, shot, score! Manny Tolkoff off the assist. Jonathan Diaz, Brookline's face-off specialist, getting pushed and shoved around the middle there, and I think a timeout was called by Brookline as they didn't want to run into a problem of the shot of the, well, not shot clock, but there is a clock violation that you can get if you don't get the ball into the attack zone or into touch, as they also call it. There's a certain amount of time you need to do that by to at least get 1 foot across the 30-yard line of the football field. Otherwise, it's a violation. So I like the timing of the timeout by head coach Dan Gardner, as the smaller Jonathan Diaz was kind of getting pushed around there after the nice face-off win.
Yeah, as you said, Brookline hadn't won a face-off up until then, and they did well getting the ball back. But see, with Brookline and this offensive possession, if they're able to regain their lead here with 3:27 to go.
We got our first note in the live chat from Marlene Lyons. Go Brookline, watching my favorite player, Dylan Katz. Always happy to see you tune in, Marlene. I hope you're enjoying the broadcast so far. And it is kind of interesting to see the different kind of plays that have been working for the team so far, because both Brookline goals, as you said before, Nico, coming starting from Ryan Wilson out of the back, either scoring it himself on an isolation play when left alone, or passing to the open man when the double team arrives. And meanwhile, for Cambridge, they're setting up for their best ISO player as well, Owen Goldstein. He got around his defender, and when help didn't come, he scored that first goal. And then the second one, even still being manned up by his defender, he still had just enough room to fire a long-distance shot and score his second goal. So, you know, we can clearly see both teams liking to go through their leading offensive guys and, you know, see what they can create, whether that be for a shot or a pass. 3:27 on the clock here in the first quarter. Out of the timeout, Ryan Wilson bringing it into the attack area for Brookline as he runs it down the right side behind the net. Surveying his options from behind again. This spot's been working pretty well for Brookline. We'll see what they decide to do here. Wilson starting his approach, spins away from Summersgill, coming out the back, fires a shot, misses wide. Torres there to keep it with Brookline.
Yeah, again, Ryan Wilson coming out behind the back end. That great opportunity, just ball sails a little right of the net.
Now Torres trying to cut around his defender, but help arrives. Passes it up to Herman. Herman, double comes and floats it to the back to Wilson. Wilson coming out the back again, trying to fight his way through. Double arrives, and he is forced to back off. Almost lost the ball, but keeps it. Running along the back, spins, gets away from his man, pass to the middle. Oh, it was dropped by Tolkoff. But the bouncing ball picked up by Herman. Herman's been so great picking up loose balls for Brookline, as that one was juggled by Berman after he picked it up. Now Fish on the approach, pushed away. Trying again, getting around a defender. Shot saved by Doyle, and he covers up the loose ball. River Doyle's been so strong for Cambridge early. Now the Falcons working in transition. Bellows with the ball. Flips it to Goldstein. Goldstein slips and falls, but keeps the ball despite the defensive pressure, and even gets away from his defender briefly. Gets around another long shot, saved by Katz.
Yeah, Katz did great there, scooping up, not allowing anything there. But the Brookline defense, Jesse, been pretty solid early on into this game, not allowing very much to happen for Cambridge.
Dylan Katz scooping that one up off the bounce like a first baseman in baseball. to get what I believe is his second save of the day so far. I'm not usually that good at keeping track of save numbers. Jacob Fish behind the net on offense for Brookline. They're still hoping to take the lead. Fish jukes, comes out the back. The double arrives, passes away to Toe. Toe throws it up top to Herman. Herman moving to his right. No openings. Floats to the back. Wilson. Wilson out to Tolkoff. Tolkoff jukes. Nothing there. Double arrives. Hit from behind. Ball pops out, but Tolkoff chases it down and recovers it. Resetting around the top now. Just over 30 seconds left in the period. Tolkoff approaching. Long shot is in. Manny Tolkoff with his second goal of the day, and Brookline does, in fact, retake the lead.
Yeah, Tolkoff did great there, going around the right side of the field and just cutting in. Left side of the net goal for Manny Tolkoff there, and he did great. And Brookline, 2-goal lead with under a minute to go, and this is a great start here for Brookline.
Certainly good to get a goal in the closing minute of the first quarter to take the lead there from Manny Tolkoff. And you mentioned, Nico, it's the left side of the net from the goalie's perspective. It's the right side from Manny's because he's been trying to attack from that left side, and that's where he had a couple of those early misses. Did find the back of the net for his first shot from that side, but he's shown an ability to score on both sides of the net. Jonathan Diaz with another face-off win. Started off a little slow on the faceoffs, but now has back-to-back wins, and this time runs it into the attack area himself and floats the pass away to Wilson as he comes back, and that pass misses Torres again. Loose ball picked up by Cambridge, but they throw the ball away. Rolls across midfield, but couldn't be picked up by Brookline, and it does not matter as that chaotic play is going to end the first quarter. Our score at the end of 1, Brookline 3, Cambridge 2.
Yeah, Brookline did really well in that first, as even though they went down 2-1, they didn't give up anything, and they got 2 toward the end. And Brookline started off a little weak on the defensive side, but really toughened up. And this is looking well for Brookline here, Jesse. They're able to retain possession in the offensive zone, not have a lot of costly turnovers, and it's working well here for Brookline as they're up 1.
During this break between the first and second quarter, we'd like to take another moment to thank our sponsor for today, Esch Dental. Do you have a tooth that just doesn't look right in photos, too far out, too far back, or maybe one that prevents you from showing that smile at all? The team at Esch Dental has everything you need to get that smile perfectly aligned. Their average Invisalign case lasts about 9 months, and the treatment is practically invisible compared to metal braces. Adults and teens alike get their teeth straightened and their bites aligned with Esch Dental. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eschdental.com to find out more and book your appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to easchdental.com. All that information in the description section down below. Okay. We got a note in the live chat from Marlene Lyons saying that my sound is fading in and out, and it shouldn't be. That's a little worrisome. If some other folks tuning in could let me know if my sound is fading in and out for you guys as well, so we can determine whether or not this is, in fact, a technical problem on my end, or if maybe something is going on with Marlene's tech on her side, because I want everyone to be able to hear me clearly while I'm calling this game. It sounds clear to me. My volume bars are looking clear on OBS Studio here, so everything looks clean on my end. Oh, Ali Sternburn saying the sound is perfect now, so I don't know, maybe that was back when we were having trouble with the Wi-Fi, although the Wi-Fi problems usually affect the video and not as much the audio, so I'll keep an eye on that. But thank you for keeping an eye on things, folks. First face-off of the second quarter won by Jonathan Diaz as he gets hit and loses the ball, but they're going to call a foul on Cambridge there for the hold as they got tangled up with Diaz. More good work in the face-off game by Jonathan Diaz as Leo Torres cutting across, shot saved, deflected way high, and it's going to be caught like a fly ball by Ryan Wilson, but his pass is blocked as, again, trying to work through traffic from the back to the middle there has not been working that well for Brookline. Lucas Berman running it the other way for the Falcons. Pass to the corner to Shea. Zach Shea running across the back. Flips it over to Colin Foley. Foley circling around. Pass across, Xander Witters. Now pass over to Owen Goldstein. Goldstein scored both of Cambridge's first quarter goals. Now in an ISO situation against Benji Keegan-McGlynn. Cutting across, shot, no good, missed it wide. Zach Shea back there, looks like it's going to stay with the Falcons for the time being. Got a bee flying around here.
So that's the only problem with the warmer weather, Jesse. You get the
bugs.
Yep.
Berman throws it down to Foley. Foley throws it back up top to Xander Witters. Witters. Looks like he's winding up for an approach here. He is one-on-one, I think, against Herman, and he decides not to approach and just passes it away. Couple passes back and forth as it winds up back with Wiley Welch. Welch actually gave it to Goldstein. Goldstein with the ball. Spins, pass, Witters, cutting across the top, looking, shot, deflected by a Cambridge player. And for a second that looked like it was going to be the wackiest goal you ever saw, but they blow it, the play dead, give it to Brookline. Long pass up to Corey Toe now as he runs it in transition. What a zany play that was on the other end as that pass misses Jack Herman, but he recovers it. Herman running up the left side, pass to the back, complete to Wilson. Wilson pass out, Tolkoff. Up top, Herman. Herman across the top here. Up top, Fish. And now given over to number 47, I think that is Preston Bayless. Gives to Wilson. Wilson coming out the back, tries a pass. Too much traffic again, but again, the loose ball picked up by Herman. He's been great on the loose balls for Brookline today, but that pass juggled by Bayless trying to pick it up, and it's still a mad scramble for the ball into open space. It's going to be picked up by Cambridge by number 3, it looks like. That might be Luis Vazquez. Pass ahead. It's juggled a bit. Zach Shea couldn't pick it up, and now it's picked up by Dylan Katz swooping in to take it away, and he's sprinting across midfield himself, going end to end as the goalie. He's still breaking through. No way! Katz missed it. Oh my God! I would have gone insane if the goalie had scored a goal there, but it missed. Went out of bounds. Brookline keeps it.
And it's something you don't really see for much teams, but Dylan Katz does it perfectly. He comes out a lot, and it almost worked there. Got by the last defender, and he had a shot on goal. Oh my God!
Now Torres in. Leo Torres, the freshman, puts Brookline up by 2.
Yeah, Torres did great there, cutting it back into the middle, and that's worked really well for Brookline. And honestly, Jesse, this game coming into it, Brookline wasn't the favorites, but we've been talking about how tough this Brookline team is, and they're showing it here. And it's working really well for Brookline in the offensive zone. They've been able, as I've been saying before, retaining possession. And Leo Torres did great there, finding the back of the net, and 4-2 for Brookline. This game is looking well, but if you're Brookline, you can't get too excited. Still got a lot of time to go.
And an exciting face-off battle here as Thomas O'Brien back from injury, and he is, well, he's playing like Thomas O'Brien. He's sending bodies flying. It doesn't matter if it's on the ice or the field. That's what he does, but he's going to get called for that, and it's going to give the ball to Cambridge on the foul that time. Summersgill pass complete to Witters. Witters into the attack area, being followed by O'Brien. Witters just holding it behind the net. Looking around, looks like they're trying to set a screen. Oh, but it's knocked loose. Took out his footing, but I think they're going to call another foul on O'Brien there. And so it's going to stay with Cambridge. Thomas O'Brien disrupting the Cambridge players, just not quite doing it cleanly so far. But at the very least, hasn't given Cambridge a man-up advantage yet, as Goldstein with the ball, matched up with Haas. Goldstein slips and falls. Haas jumping on him, trying to knock that ball loose. And Goldstein recovers, comes out the back, throws a pass, misses. Intended for Welch, and that's going to bounce out of bounds and give Brookline the ball. But Brookline out here, going out for blood here at Downs.
Yeah, totally. And again, a little costly mistake there. Just not able to retain possession in the offensive zone. And Brookline has the ball again.
Delaney lost the ball, knocked loose. Cambridge takes it right back. Foley right in front of the net. Shoots. Oh, he's walled off. No one between him and the net except the goalie. And it's the goalie, Dylan Katz, who comes up with the point-blank save.
Just so special for this Brookline team. He just keeps them in games and not allowing anything. He's been great, as always, so far early into this game.
Toe long shot saved by Doyle. Both goalies displaying some strong efforts there, but that last save from Katz, definitely the biggest save of the game so far. Summersgill with the ball, pass up the line. Complete, goes to the middle now. As a couple passes, they get it back to Goldstein. Goldstein walks up with it. Goldstein just holding it slowly here.
Yeah, Haas not allowing anything to happen. Brookline's best defender against Cambridge's best offensive player. And
Goldstein starts his approach, cutting to his left off the screen, spins off a man, but the help arrives and he gets swarmed and has to back off. Good team defense from Brookline there. Goldstein trying to juke again, throws a pass behind the net, finds Shea. Shea not finding any openings immediately. Runs out from behind the net. Up top, Welch down low, Foley. Back up top, Welch. Welch coming around, looking, pass is complete to Berman. Berman gives it back to Goldstein, and I think a timeout was just called by Cambridge, as they have found themselves a little flustered in this possession by some strong defensive efforts from the Warriors.
yeah, something honestly here for Jesse is, you look, Cambridge has a lot of offensive possession time, but they just haven't been able to counter. This Brookline defense done well, not allowing anything, and Cambridge has really just sat there, just kind of playing pass with their teammates and not really doing much, because this Brookline defense has been one of the strongest I think I've seen so far this year for Brookline, and they've done really well not allowing anything for Cambridge. And if you're the Cambridge side here, your coach has got to be telling you, we have to find something. We have all this time, all this zone possession, and we can't find anything. We're down 2, but for Brookline, this defense, they just got to keep it up. They just got to keep playing how they're playing.
Absolutely. And, I think the epitome of what's working so well for Brookline really displayed itself in that last sequence where they were trying to go for a pick play for Goldstein, and the pick worked. The pick worked. Haas was completely walled off, came up several steps behind Goldstein, but the other Brookline defenders read it so well. One guy immediately came over to help. I think it might have been Corey Toe, and then Goldstein spins off of him because Toe was, over pursuing because he had to come across, from the middle to that left side. But then as he spun off, there were like two more Brookline defenders barreling right down on top of him immediately. Wasn't even in a good position to make a pass. He just had to back off. And really, that's been kind of the big problem for Cambridge is that Goldstein, he can win his one-on-ones. He's a very talented offensive player, but they're just not quite finding the openings to string those passes together when Brookline's help defense arrives and he gets doubled up. Brookline's been able to find some other guys to go to, when Ryan Wilson gets doubled up, for example, and that's created some openings. And so they've got 4 goals from 3 different goal scorers, while Cambridge has 2 goals from just 1 player. Out of the timeout, we'll see what kind of adjustments the Cambridge offense might have made off the timeout by head coach Alex McFerrin.
Interesting to see here if Cambridge is a little more aggressive.
Goldstein starting his approach. Spins, pass away, long shot. I think that either went off the post or it was redirected by Katz. And I think and either way, Goldstein closest to the sideline, and so Cambridge maintains possession. They went for a long shot from Roy Bellows. No dice there.
Yeah,
Good. Go ahead.
Sorry, good from Cambridge here, being a little more aggressive, trying to get some more shots on goal, but this Brookline defense just so tough here.
Goldstein now floats it over to Bellows. Bellows, the long stick midi. Spins, gives to Goldstein, cutting across. Shoots, and it bounces in. Owen Goldstein with the high bouncer there. They created just enough of an opening with that crisscross play there that you saw, slowed Haas down by about half a step, and that half a step was all Goldstein needed to fire that shot, and, just a high bounce that Katz wasn't able to account for as it bounces off the crossbar and in.
Yeah, and Katz, I think he expected that. I think he expected he was going to be able to get it off the first bounce and not allow it to go high, but he just went down, I think, a little too early, and it went over his head, but Katz was in the right position. He just went a little too early.
And a false start called on Cambridge on the face-off, so Brookline takes possession. Jacob Fish runs it into the attack area. Pass to the back, Wilson. Wilson trying to cut around his man, got a little tangled up. Fakes the pass, and now he's cutting across the back. Pass could not get through, disrupted. Tolkoff picks it up, though. Shot walled off by Doyle. River Doyle has been having a very nice day in net for the Falcons so far today as Bellows avoids the forward pressure and passes it over to Doyle, across to Summersgill now. Back to Doyle. Doyle back over to Bellows. Bellows throws it way upfield to Foley. Foley cutting through into the attack area for Cambridge. Pass back to Welch. Welch off a screen. Up top, he got the switch to Max Delaney. Comes around another screen but misses that shot wide of the net. Got a little bit of an opening off a second screen, but shot would not go for him.
Yeah, Welch was in the right position. Just ball went a little too right. But Cambridge still retains possession here. Brookline just got to keep up, not let their pedal off the gas here on defense.
Foley coming around the back. Not enough of an opening, and he passes it away to Welch. Welch's pass misses Witters, and that's a bad turnover for Cambridge as Brookline gets the ball for free there.
Yeah, something we honestly say a little too much for Brookline is they've had a lot of costly turnovers so far this year, but they've been pretty solid this game, and Cambridge kind of taking that, and they've had a bunch of turnovers that have just been missed passes that have gone out of bounds, and Brookline's done a good job taking advantage of that, and just like that, Brookline has possession yet again.
Long pass floated over to Haas. Haas walking up, pass to Herman. Herman waving around defenders here. Pass gets to Torres. Torres moving to his right. Goes around the back. Starts his approach. Not there. Passes away to Bayless. Now over to Toe. And it looks like a timeout is called now by Brookline as they're wanting to get more organized on offense, as they definitely want to answer after Cambridge cuts their lead down to 1.
Yeah, and Jesse, like you said, still only with 1:53 left on the clock. Don't want to waste this possession here, because if Brookline takes their time, this could be one of the last plays of the second, and Brookline just going to try and set something up here.
Yeah. That is one of the unique things about lacrosse, is even more than a sport like basketball or football, you have a real ability to run out the clock in this sport, because no tight shot clock like in basketball. Easier to retain possession for a long time if you want to than in football. And you know, I'm not gonna lie, it's not an aspect of the game that I love, but it is one that gives it kind of a unique situation in terms of how things can play out late in a quarter or late in a game, especially when things are close.
Yeah, and especially, like you said, if you're just kind of just playing pass, if you're a team and you're up, and if in this situation here, Brookline's going to have the ball, Cambridge, if they're trying to play a little too aggressive, it might leave some openings for a Brookline player to cut in and have a good shot on goal. So, like you said, it's kind of a unique situation that in lacrosse that you're just really able to just waste time and have possession for so long. Like, you would most of the time a team has possession for over a minute, and unlike a lot of sports, you're able to do that.
All right. We'll see how Brookline might be adjusting their offensive play out of the timeout. Jacob Fish starting with the ball. Fish down to the corner there. Walking across behind the net. Looking. They're taking their time here. They might be killing clock like we'd been talking about. Fish just kind of standing there. Now starting to move. Trying to spin off his man, no dice. Covered tight by Witters. Comes out the back, no openings. Throws it up top to Herman. Herman gonna try. Gets around one defender, loses his footing. And Cambridge takes it away. Bellows picked it up, and his pass completed up to Berman. Berman throws it up to an open man. Foley walled off at point-blank range. Again, Dylan Katz with a highlight-worthy save.
And talking about the effort after Katz rushed, and it's Brookline ball now. And Cambridge played a little aggressive there, got the turnover, but then just a great defensive work here for Brookline. And now they have the ball again with 4:30 to go, and a timeout's called.
Yeah, Dylan Katz, so great about that, like you said, Nico, not just getting the save, but immediately breaking into a sprint to the back end. The situational awareness of knowing that this is a transition shot. They don't have a guy planted behind the net like they normally would in your average offensive set. So there's a real chance for him to get back closest to the back line like he did and give Brookline possession off of that stop. And then Brookline calls timeout with 43 seconds left, and so we'll see if maybe they can get the last shot off to end the second quarter and go into halftime with the lead.
Yeah, I don't think here if you're Brookline, you don't want to rush anything too quick, but you also don't want to leave everything up to the last like 10 seconds. So I think around that 25-second mark, I think Brookline should make their move.
Yeah, certainly at the very least, by the time they reach that 25-second mark, they want to be in the opposing end in a position where they can start making their move. Out of the timeout, it'll be Craig Haas with the ball. Haas, long pass across, complete to Delaney.
Yeah, and Cambridge putting a special eye on Ryan Wilson here, trying not to let him get the ball because you know how much of a threat he is in that offensive zone, but
Delaney trying to hold on to the ball as it got knocked loose, and it bounces out of bounds, and it'll be Cambridge ball.
Yeah, Cambridge did well there on defense to get the ball back. And with 20 seconds to go, Cambridge is going to get the final possession here.
Oh, are they, though? Because Craig Haas with the interception, his long pass blocked by Summersgill. Loose ball chased down by Herman. 9 seconds left. Herman running up with it, still running, and it's knocked loose by Ellis Anderson, and that is going to end the half. So several big defensive plays on both sides to bring a chaotic end to that second quarter. And at the end of two, the score, Brookline 4, Cambridge 3.
Yeah, and I think, Jesse, Brookline did very well in these first two. They've amazing on defense. They've not really allowed much to happen for Cambridge. And on the offensive side, they've had the goals, and they've had what's worked for them with Ryan Wilson behind the net, just working, maybe going himself, a pass. But I think this has gone very well for Brookline. And at the end of that, I don't think that's really what they expected to happen at the end of that quarter, but Brookline's still up 1.
All right, during this halftime break, we're going to take a moment again to thank our sponsor for today, Esch Dental. You can see their nice logo there in the bottom middle of your screen. Do you have a tooth that's been worked on once, twice, 3 times, and it's still giving you problems? Have you been told it's time to give up the fight on that tooth and have it extracted? Hey, it happens to a lot of us. Dr. Esch performs a multitude of procedures to get that infected tooth out and an implant in. All of Dr. Esch's implants are digitally guided, which means the surgery takes place on a digital model of your jaw even before your appointment. Digital implant placement is the safest, fastest, most predictable way to turn that problem tooth into a fixed and beautiful solution. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eschdental.com to find out more and book your appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to easchdental.com. All that information is in the description section down below as well. In that description section, you can also find a link to the official Venmo account of the Friends of Brookline Lacrosse Booster Club if you would like to support Brookline High Boys Lacrosse financially. And then you can also find some links for our local charity spotlight for today, Brookline Cares. Brookline Cares is a volunteer organization run by Brookline High School students, which seeks to raise awareness and funds to help people experiencing homelessness. Brookline Cares works closely with an organization called the Empowerment Plan. The Empowerment Plan hires and trains those experiencing homelessness to manufacture their special type of coat, known as the Empower Coat, which can double as a sleeping bag. The coats help to keep those struggling with homelessness warm during the colder months of the year, while the jobs manufacturing those coats can help break the cycle of homelessness through gainful employment. Down in the description section of this video, you can find a link on the website classy.org where you can donate money to the Brookline Cares team, which supports their efforts to purchase more Empower coats and Bomba socks that they then distribute to local community organizations and emergency departments that care for the homeless. Another link you can find down in the description down below is the organization's own website on wixsite.com, where you can find out more about Brookline Cares itself, how you can contact them if you're a student, if you would like to join them, things of that nature. But be sure to check out those links down in the description down below, and find out how you can help out the cause with Brookline Cares. Once again, all that information down in the description section down below. But for now, it is halftime. Brookline 4, Cambridge 3, alongside Nico Wise. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan here at Downs Field. We're going to take a break and mute our mics, but we'll be back with the second half of this ball game. Stay tuned. Hello again, everybody. Back on the mic, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan alongside Nico Wise here at Downs Field in Brookline, Massachusetts, where we're about to start the second half of this high school varsity boys lacrosse game between the Brookline High Warriors and the Cambridge Rindge and Latin School Falcons. It's a 4-3 game in favor of Brookline, and the opening face-off is up for grabs. Still being fought for, being knocked around. Oh my gosh, the hip check from Thomas O'Brien, and that's going to get him another call there. As again, he loves that rough and tumble play style, but sometimes, you know, there's a fine line between aggressive and reckless, and sometimes you're going to get those calls when you get a little bit too reckless. Cambridge gets the opening possession here in the third quarter. Owen Goldstein currently with the ball. He scored all 3 goals for the Falcons in the first half.
One-man machine.
Turning around, trying a shot, and he continues to be a one-man machine, scoring the tying goal there. Kind of an unfortunate shame that it was blocked a bit by the official, because that was an impressive score, because not only was he, you know, staring face on with his primary defender, about 2 more defenders had come and cluttered the area for him, and he still somehow fit a powerful high shot through to score his 4th goal of the game.
Yeah, able to work through it, and Brookline's done well with a double and triple team on him, but Goldstein's still working, and he has his 4th, and we're all tied up again.
You know, it's one of those mantras sometimes you hear in NBA basketball. There are some guys that you just know they're going to get their 20 points every game, and you just want to limit them and slow them down. I feel like Goldstein's got the same thing going on. He's going to get some goals. That much is inevitable, but you just want to slow him down as much as possible. Whistle blown there against Cambridge, but Brookline already had the ball anyway. Jacob Fish throws it ahead to Ryan Wilson. Wilson with 1 goal and 1 assist in that first half. Pass across finds Manny Tolkoff, who skips it in as Brookline answers right back.
Yeah, the tic-tac-toe goal there from Ryan Wilson to Manny Tolkoff did great there. Wilson baited the defender to come to him and just left Tolkoff by himself right in front of the net. And quick back after Cambridge had the tying goal. Brookline gets the lead.
3rd goal of the day for Manny Tolkoff. 2nd assist for Ryan Wilson. And a big answer there for the Warriors. As it looks like the Wi-Fi is making the video a little choppy right now. I'm going to have to upload a recorded version later today. I'm sorry about that, folks. Not much I can do about that, unfortunately. We got a wild scramble for the face-off again. Bodies going flying. And this time they blow the whistle against Cambridge as one of them knocked over Leo Torres as he was trying to chase down the loose ball. So this time the foul was on Cambridge.
Yeah, both teams getting a little scrappy here, Jesse. But just like that, Brookline has possession again.
Torres trying to get around his defender, cannot, passes to the back. Wilson with the ball, trying to juke around his man, coming out the back, trying to fit through, extra spin, but he lost the ball in the process. Chaotic battle for the loose ball again as it goes rolling, and who touched it last now?
Yeah, it's going to be Brookline ball, I think.
I think you're right there, Nico.
I think I think Green tipped it.
Torres running with it, trying to get around. Oh, and it's a warding penalty. The equivalent of an offensive charge in basketball. I think they said Torres kind of threw out his elbow there against his defender. You can't do that on offense. It's a rare call, but it is a call that can be made here in lacrosse. And so the offensive violation gives the ball to Cambridge. And now with the ball, Wiley Welch floats pass over to Xander Witters. Witters off the screen, has a bit of an opening. Pass misses. That's the tough thing in lacrosse with the passes. The ball can fly so fast when it's whipped off your stick that you've got to time it so precisely, especially when your teammate is cutting. And that one not timed perfectly, and so Brookline takes it off the turnover.
Yeah, a little issue here for Cambridge, just connecting their passes hasn't been great, but
But Brookline able to barely connect there as the ball is recovered by number 15, James Carr, joining the team here in the second half after completing his SATs during the first half. Lost the ball there as he stormed into a sea of defenders and couldn't come away with the ball. Long pass to an open Colin Foley. He's charging in, shot turned aside again. Dylan Katz has been a wall on those breakaway chances as he denies Colin Foley once again.
Yeah, Dylan Katz, just an absolute monster on defense, keeping Brookline, shutting down anything from Cambridge.
Foley trying a long shot, and he's once again stopped by Katz. Floats the outlet pass over to Delaney. And Delaney gets taken down as a guy rolls right over his body. No whistle as play continues, and now a whistle. And they're going to give it to Cambridge, actually. They're going to say that Delaney covered up the ball illegally there. So even though he was taken down, it was a legal takedown by the Cambridge defense. But Delaney, you can't just put your stick over on top of the ball and just seal it there. And so they call that against Brookline, and Cambridge gets the ball, and Goldstein cutting around, charging in. Couldn't get a shot off as it goes off the post. Disrupted from behind by Craig Haas, and Dylan Katz was watching on that shot.
Yeah, Katz was right there, but Haas did a great job just attacking that and not letting anything happen. But again, Goldstein just has so many chances in front of the net. And he's really, as we've been saying, he's just a one-man machine. Nothing else is really going for Cambridge. They just have to give it to him every time and hope he does something, but Brookline really shutting it down.
And we got a timeout called here by Brookline with 8:06 on the clock here in the third. And like you said, a credit to Craig Haas not giving up on that play, because Goldstein really had him beat, got around him and was charging in, but Haas just staying with the play as long as he could with his long stick to, you know, just disrupt and slow down Goldstein as much as he can. And again, like we said, when you've got a talent, when you're going up against a talented offensive player like Goldstein, you know, you just gotta, you know, do whatever you can to limit him, and rather than shut him out, just try and give him, you know, a less efficient game if you can. Lower the number of high percentage shots he's taking and just play the percentages as best you can, knowing that some shots will still go in anyway.
Good.
We got some more notes and the live chat from Lauren Hirsch saying, "Go Brookline." Big shout out to Dylan Katz. Lots of love from Aunt Lauren and your Chicago family. And Marlene Lyons again saying, "Katz, our new monster." And Katz, you know, more than a monster. He's more been like a guardian angel in net for Brookline. The way that he protects that spot between the pipes. I mean, he multiple point blank saves where there's nobody else between him and the shooter at close range, and he just makes the stop. He's been reading those shots so well.
Yeah, definitely. And another thing, his helpful defensive members like Haas and Kim, they've just done a great job not allowing anything. And when they do allow something, Katz is right there to stop it. Even though Cambridge has 4, they've still done a great job. And there's Carr back from the SATs.
And there's Carr taking a long shot, saved by Doyle, but the rebound picked up and put in by Leo Torres.
Yeah, Torres did a great job there. Off the bounce, came off the goalie, and he was right there, right place, right time, puts it in the back of the net. In Brookline with another 2-goal lead. We'll see, Jesse, the thing is, Cambridge have done well coming back after being down 2, so we'll see if Brookline can keep pouring on this offense and keep their lead, but can't let their foot off the gas here just because you're up 2.
We got a violation call on Brookline there, and so it will be Cambridge ball out of this face-off. 7:49 on the clock here in the third. 2 goals today now for Leo Torres. Lucas Berman now with the ball for the Falcons. Taking it down into the corner, passes along the back to Zach Shea. Pass out to Foley. Up top, Welch. Welch cuts around, pass down, misses. In and out of the pocket of Foley. Foley trying to pick it up. He's being chased by number 29, Luke Wass. Wass, the last to touch it, out of bounds, and so it will stay with Cambridge. Foley. Long pass across Witters. Gives it to Goldstein. Goldstein cutting across. Help arrives. Goldstein lost his foot, lost the ball. Picked up by Witters as Cambridge stays on offense. Pass back to Goldstein, lost it, and a stick was lost by the defender. I'm not sure if his stick broke or something as he's just sprinting off to get a new one. Goldstein cutting around, still holding it with one hand on his stick as O'Brien sprints back on the field. Or no, a different substitution comes in. That's Benji Keegan-McGlynn in the middle of the play, subbing in for O'Brien, who lost his stick, as Goldstein again gets taken down by a sea of defenders, and this time the loose ball picked up by Waylon Slavin.
Yeah, Brookline's just done an amazing job. Every time Goldstein's had anything, they've shut him down.
And now Cambridge takes it back as Brookline fails on the transition pass. Ellis Anderson, number 16, with the ball, throws it up top to Witters. Witters gives it over to Welch.
Yeah,
Welch.
the stick's broken, Jesse.
Yeah, O'Brien broke his stick as Welch with the ball here. As he cuts around his man, starting to approach, pass to Foley, who lost it out of his pocket before he could get the close-range shot off, and Katz took advantage to catch it out of the air.
Yeah, Katz did a good job claiming that, but this Brookline defense just shutting down anything, and there goes Katz again into the offensive zone.
Katz passes to Tolkoff this time. Tolkoff holding the ball as they wait to get set on offense, make all their proper substitutions. Tolkoff jukes around his man, charging in, cutting across, shoots and scores. What a day for Manny Tolkoff, his 4th goal of the day, and that one he did all by himself.
Oh no, he is limping a little bit. I saw him holding his leg after the goal. I hope he's all right.
Looks like he's
shaking it off.
Yeah, looks like he's trying to walk it off, and that is good because Manny Tolkoff having himself a day here. Some great slick moves on that play to get goal number 4 as Brookline has their largest lead of the day here at 7-4.
Yeah, and like we've been saying, every time Brookline has had this lead, they've kind of let their foot off the gas, but seems a little different this time, Jesse. They keep pouring it on, and Tolkoff's done a great job with his jukes, just getting the goals, and Brookline's just got to keep it up on the offense and defensive side of the ball.
Hard-fought scrum for the ball. It gets knocked into the Brookline end and picked up briefly by, I think, Wass, but it's still going nuts there, but it's caught out of the air by Welch. But his pass is intercepted by Benji Keegan-McGlynn, and we got a flag thrown. Slight delay on the whistle there, which suggests to me that it's on Cambridge, but I'm not sure because if they were going to play advantage, they wouldn't have stopped it while Brookline had the ball. And okay, looks like they called it on Jonathan Diaz, so it is against Brookline. I got a little confused there for a second, but the penalty is on Brookline. Cambridge with the man-up advantage. Can they take advantage of that and try and cut Brookline's lead down to 2? And fun fact as we start this man-up advantage play for Cambridge, this is actually the second season in a row, season in a row combined with this winter that I've seen Thomas O'Brien break his stick, as he also had a broken stick in one of the hockey games I covered in the winter.
Yeah, quite the aggressive player, Jesse.
And Cambridge just sort of looking around, similar to a hockey power play. They're just passing around, waiting for Brookline's defense to make a mistake on their rotations. Excuse me. Foley pass inside. Goldstein stumbled. Looking for a pass. It's not there. Goes back to Bellows. Long shot saved again by Dylan Katz.
Yeah, Jesse's there every time. Just such a crucial player. He's just gonna throw it up.
Long
Torres.
pass is too far and taken off the bounce by River Doyle, the goalie for Cambridge, who gets a short pass away to Summersgill, but his pass misses, skipping past everybody. It's scooped the other way by Slavin, but it's caught by Anderson, thrown ahead to Bellows. Bellows throws it wide open again, is Foley, and again Katz denies him! And Katz celebrating after another huge stop.
I mean, he didn't even wait for it. He went right for the stick, and he's right there every time.
This ball lost out of bounds on transition again, as Brookline has had their fair share of struggles in the transition game today, but Dylan Katz, what a day. As now breaking in is Welch, his shot, oh my gosh, he stopped another one. Dylan Katz, the iron wall today, as his outlet pass here goes to Delaney. Delaney walking it across midfield, pass up, dropped by Torres, but Torres recovers it off the bounce. Now taking off, running with it into the attack area, still charging in, cutting across, flips it over to Wilson. Wilson running along, walking along the back, spinning off his man, looking and being pushed back by Anderson, but trying to spin off him. Brookline killing clock on that penalty, as now Wilson spins, pass, couldn't be completed to Carr, and it's taken off the bounce by Bellows. Long pass across midfield up to Welch. Welch looking, pass to the middle, disrupted by Toe, but picked up by Goldstein. Goldstein being pursued aggressively by his defender, number 22, Noah Olson. Goldstein calling for a flag call, and he gets it as Olson hit his face mask, but Goldstein trying to muscle his way through, lost the ball, but it does not matter, as they're gonna blow the whistle on the delayed penalty there. And Olson will serve this penalty with 2:01 left in the third, as just got a little too aggressive trying to defend Goldstein.
Yeah, and honestly, Jesse, late into this third, I think we're starting to see some of the fatigue coming in for Cambridge. Brookline's really beating them to every ball, and the more aggressive side right now, especially with the heat and the lack of substitutions for Cambridge. Brookline has the advantage here, and they're up 3.
With the ball here, I believe, is Witters. Pass to Bellows. Up top, Goldstein. Goldstein thought about the shot, but passes to Bellows. Back to Goldstein. Tries the pass again, and the shot is in. Wiley Welch, the first Falcons player not named Owen Goldstein to score a goal today, as Goldstein gets his first assist.
Yeah, I can't expect Cats to get everything there. Brookline defense a little lackluster, but if you're Cambridge here, this is kind of what you want to see, getting some more of your players not named Goldstein, getting some goals. And if you're Brookline, you just got to keep up for the majority part of this game. Their defense has been great, so you just got to keep that up.
Well, that's the difference that the man-up advantage gets you, is that Brookline has to play a little bit more lax on defense. They can't be as aggressive on the ball because they don't have as many teammates to help support them if that backfires. And as a result, because they were still trying to double Goldstein, whenever he faked a shot, a guy was open for the pass. And on the second pass, he connected there with Welch, who had the open look at the net. Diaz wins the face-off and passes ahead to Wilson there. Wilson, cross the back. Still looking. And no, he faked the flip to Torres there. Now he passes to Torres. Torres juking, cuts around, tries to get a pass away as he's knocked to the ground. Cannot complete the pass, but a whistle blown. A whistle blown against Brookline there. Some kind of offensive violation. I'm not quite sure what, but Cambridge gets the ball. Forgive my lack of knowledge on what that call was, folks. I apologize. Anderson now bringing it up for the Falcons. Less than a minute to go. The Falcons with a chance to cut this Brookline lead down to 1 before the end of the third. Goldstein, the man with the plan and the man with the ball, here in the corner for Cambridge. Matched up with Keegan McGlynn, a shorter stick defender. Interesting matchup. Goldstein off a screen, coming out the back, gets swarmed, tries to force the shot, no dice this time. That's gonna miss, but Shea there to cover the sideline to keep it with Cambridge.
Yeah, Goldstein did well to spin, but he just didn't get the angle there. But they'll still have the ball with 10 seconds to go. If you're Brookline, can't allow anything here. This would be brutal if they let something happen with 10 seconds left. Still with the 2-goal lead, though, for Brookline.
Goldstein, whoops, went before the whistle there. With 10 seconds left, you got to make sure that they don't go until the whistle. Here we go. Goldstein looking for that last shot. Long shot stopped by Katz. Rebound picked up by Brookline, and they're just going to hold it until the end of the third quarter, and that will do it there for the third. At the end of 3, our score, the Brookline Warriors 7, the Cambridge Rindge and Latin School Falcons 5. Brookline, you almost don't want to say it for the potential of a jinx, but they are 12 minutes away from potentially getting their first win of the season. During this break in the action, I'd like to once again thank our sponsor for today, Esch Dental. Esch Dental, right in Coolidge Corner, doesn't just focus on smile rehabilitation. Their real passion is smile preservation. If you are ready for a local, sophisticated, sole ownership dental office to take care of your 6-month cleanings, no need to look any further than Esch Dental. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eschdental.com to find out more and book your appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to eashdental.com. And once again, you can find the link and phone number for Esch Dental down in the description section down below, as well as the link for the Venmo account for the Friends of Brookline Lacrosse Booster Club, and the links for our local charity spotlight, Brookline Cares. 1 quarter left, Nico. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, Jesse, I think this Brookline side has been playing one of their best games I think I've seen so far this season. The defense just stopping Goldstein, even though he has 4 goals, they've done a great job stopping him and not allowing him to do much. And the goaltending for Katz has just been unbelievable. He's made so many saves that has just kept Brookline in this lead. And I think this offense have done a great job. We've seen sometimes throughout this season, they'll have all the possession in the world in the offensive zone, and they'll just blow the play. They'll lose the ball, or it'll be a bad pass out of bounds. But they've really been able to connect their passes, have some jukes, and they've done a great job to do that, especially in the offensive zone. Ryan Wilson controlling behind the net. Either if he goes by himself for a shot or goes outside and passes to one of his teammates, and Tolkov's done a great job connection with Wilson. He has a good amount of goals today, but still 1 quarter left. You can't get so excited. Can't let your foot off the gas. Still only up 2, but I think a start for Brookline to get a goal early would be good, and for Cambridge, you just got to keep finding Goldstein, who's just been such a factor for them this game with all their goals. But I think this is looking good for Brookline, and the fatigue might be setting in here for Cambridge.
We will see. It's a hot Saturday morning here at Downs Field, and we got 12 minutes left in this game. First faceoff chased down by Summersgill, and Cambridge will get the opening possession as he passes it back to Bellows. Long pass up, finds Berman. Berman gets around a guy and will run it, pass it forward to Welch. Long shot is in. Cambridge strikes fast. Welch from Berman. And just like that, this is a one-goal game, folks.
Talk about closing games out, Jesse. So early into the fourth. And that was just a defensive breakdown. I mean, he had all the time in the world to just run straight down. And Katz was in the right position, but the defense just wasn't there.
Yeah, all started when he juked out Leo Torres in the midfield, and that just shows how important the transition game is. If you can get a break in the transition game like that, then you can really make things happen in transition like that. Obviously, we haven't seen that as much for Cambridge because Dylan Katz has been such a wall on those breakaway shot opportunities. But like you said back in the third quarter, Nico, he can't stop everything. Now Brookline off the infraction called against Cambridge on that face-off. They have the ball here. James Carr with the ball, running around, passing it back. Bounce pass juggled by Fish, and the defense comes in and knocks it loose, and it's picked up by Green. Green running down the sideline in transition. Brings it into the attack area. Cambridge with a chance to score the tying goal here. Green passes it back to Foley. Foley, pass dropped by Bellows. It's rolling back across midfield, and offside's called on Cambridge as Berman over-pursued that ball, coming in just a little too far.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get a stick over over Torres. That's a shot.
And Torres was trying to get around Bellows, but Bellows knocks the ball out of his stick from behind. Big defensive takeaway for the Falcons by the co-captain Roy Bellows.
Yeah, and Cambridge not giving up. They're still fighting down one.
Ball knocked loose at midfield by Craig Haas, but ball still loose. No one picking it up cleanly. Now it's picked up by Torres, and Torres taking off running with it. Brings it into the attack area for Brookline, spins off a man, running across the top and stepping back for a moment as Brookline getting set on offense.
Yeah, no need to force anything here for Brookline. Still have the one-goal lead.
Fish floats it to the back to Wilson. Wilson surveying his options. Just walking around as they get a decision on what play they're going to run here. Wilson spins off his man. Long shot is in! Ryan Wilson with the answer for Brookline, and they're back up by 2.
Yeah, that's their man on offense. Typically he's behind the net working, but this time he's in front of it and just cuts in. It's a low ball to back right of the goal, and Brookline regains their 2-goal lead with 9:40 to go in the fourth.
Second goal of the day for Ryan Wilson to go along with 2 assists as Brookline goes up 8-6. Face off, we got a false start on Brookline. It will be Cambridge ball. It's Kamai Green with the ball for the Falcons. Bringing it around the back. Oh, but he dropped it there. Haas trying to take advantage. They're tangled up, trying to get that ball. Several players coming in, and it's picked up by Brookline, by Waylon Slavin. A whistle blown there against Cambridge, and so Brookline will get it here.
Yeah, I think Haas just got pushed behind the back, so it's Brookline ball, and there goes Katz again.
Katz, we know he can run in transition. Floats the pass ahead, connects with Wilson. Wilson jogging up with it as Brookline gets set on offense. You know they'd love to go back up by 3 again. Almost blew that 3-goal lead, and now Wilson fakes a man out of his shoes. Pass back, Tolkoff weaving through and scores! Manny Tolkoff scores once again, his 5th goal of the day as Ryan Wilson picks up his 3rd assist.
Yeah, that connection with Tolkov and Wilson has just shown this game. I mean, they've done an amazing job. And Brookline, 3-goal lead. This is exactly what you want after it was just a 1-goal lead about a minute ago.
And you know what, Nico? You talked about the fatigue possibly setting in for Cambridge. And now that we've seen Wilson juke 2 defenders out of their shoes on 2 back-to-back offensive possessions, you wonder if, maybe the fatigue's setting in. They're getting a little weak in the knees, and their knees are giving out a little faster on these slick spin moves by Ryan Wilson. Face-off won by Diaz, thrown ahead to Torres. Torres walking down around the back. Brookline trying to keep up the pressure. They lead by 3 here in quarter number 4. Torres with 2 goals of his own so far today. Trying to spin off his man. Coming out of the back. Shot saved by Doyle.
Wow, great save there. Talk about Dylan Katz being so well, but he's really kept Cambridge in this game.
River Doyle has had a number of nice saves. Both goalies have had strong efforts today, even if Doyle hasn't had a million breakaway stops like Katz has had. Don't let that overshadow how strong he's been in net for the Falcons today. Goldstein running down to the corner. Long pass out complete to Witters. Now gives it to Welch at the top. Welch cutting across. Welch shot bounced too high, and it's going to go all the way to the back. Shea back there to cover. But boy, that one made it look like a super ball the way it bounced so high.
Yeah, those bouncing balls have been a little tricky for Katz, but he's done well. And I think Welch was trying to replicate the goal that Goldstein had earlier, but it was just a little too high and a little too early, and the bounce was way too high.
And we got a timeout now called by Cambridge. 7 minutes and 19 seconds on the clock here in the 4th. Brookline leads by 3, and they are trying to erase that goose egg that they currently have in the win column and replace it with a big fat 1, the same way they did against Cambridge last year. But we've seen Cambridge nearly come back from 3 down as they were trailing 7-4. Scored 2 unanswered. Brookline has responded well with 2 unanswered of their own, but that's the thing. There's still a lot of lacrosse left to be played.
Yeah, totally, Jesse. And Brookline, especially on the defensive side of the ball, they just have to stay focused for the majority of this game. They've done well with the double and triple teams, and they've done really well, but a little early on to the 4th, they kind of let their foot off the gas, but they've showed how strong they can be, and they just have to keep that up. And if they're going to be able to do that, they have a great chance of finishing this game off and getting a win.
Individual stats so far. First for Cambridge, Owen Goldstein leading the way with 4 goals and 1 assist. Wiley Welch, 2 goals. Lucas Berman, 1 assist. For Brookline, Manny Tolkov having himself a day with 5 goals. Ryan Wilson, a big part of the attack with 2 goals and 3 assists. Leo Torres with 2 goals of his own. And even though just 3 different players with offensive marks for Brookline so far today, they've been able to really carry the day for Brookline. And in fact, both teams only have 3 different players with at least 1 goal or 1 assist, as both teams have at times struggled with their depth of scoring, haven't been able to spread the love out as much as they've been forced to really rely heavily on their go-to guys.
Yeah, and I think a couple of things here for Brookline. I know he hasn't played much today, but as he's had the SATs, but if you're able to get James Carr or someone like a Corey Toe into the game, who we know is a good offensive scoring threat, rather than just the Leo Torres or Ryan Wilson or Manny Tolkov, that's going to be really important as the Cambridge side has started to really lock down those players. But especially for Cambridge here, I think we've talked about the fatigue. something like in soccer where you're told on defense not to just stick your foot out to go for the ball. Cambridge kind of with their stick has just been really just sticking their sticks out and hoping something's going to happen, as they just don't have the energy and the stamina this late into the game to be playing such great defense. And I think Brookline can use that to his advantage, as we saw a couple plays ago. Ryan Wilson dropped a few players who were just sticking their sticks out and hoping for something to happen.
We'll see how that factors in. Cambridge out of the timeout. Do they have the offensive adjustments they need to get back in this ball game? Bellows trying to spin, trying to get around his man. Long shot off the post there. Might have been redirected by Katz. Bouncing across midfield and almost picked up by Torres. Trying to pick it up, no dice, but it's picked up by Tolkov. Tolkov off and running with it. Looking, didn't have the opening he wanted for the pass. Almost had a 2-on-1 with Wilson, but Cambridge just barely able to get their defense back enough to disrupt the potential breakaway play. And Brookline just going to settle in on offense, try and kill some clock and maybe add to their lead.
Yeah, just a little defensive break up there for Cambridge. Just some of these sloppy mistakes that has to do with their the fatigue that's settled in for them. And Brookline's done a good job taking advantage of that. With 6:22 left, Brookline 3-goal lead.
Jacob Fish with the ball behind the net, covered by Welch. Just sort of walking around for the moment as Brookline is killing clock. Trying to force the defense to make a move that creates an opening, but now gives it to Wilson. Wilson being pursued by Anderson.
Yeah, Ryan Wilson just controlling. No need to force anything. He's just calm, cool, and collective. Little time wasting, I think, Jesse.
But now a breakaway chance. Trying to wave around one last one. Trying to wave through and lost the ball. He'll get the delayed penalty call off the initial hit from Anderson. But boy, Ryan Wilson almost managed to dance his way around about 3 or 4 defenders on that play. The ball just popped out of his pocket at the last second.
Yeah, but right there, like you said, just the jukes have been working well, and he's just been able to get around every Cambridge defender until right up in front of the goal. The ball just fell out of his stick, but that was about a minute and a half of time Brookline just spent, or Ryan Wilson, honestly, just spent with the ball in his hands, just keeping possession, and they're just trying to wind this game out with 5:30 to go, up 3.
And now with the man-up advantage, Torres with the ball throws it down to Fish. You wonder if Brookline might try to go for the score now that they got a little more opening. The defense is not going to try and make anything happen here. They're not going to attack you aggressively because they have to stay back due to being one man down due to the penalty. So Brookline just passing around, looking for something, looking for some kind of defensive gaffe. But nothing currently opening up as they're content to kill clock. Tolkov goes up top to Herman. Herman passes away to Torres. Now over to Fish. Through the middle. Carr could not get the shot off as he was hit. His stick got hit from behind. That forced that shot to just sail out of his stick. But Brookline back there to keep it. Pass back. Tolkov fakes the shot. Now throws up top Herman. Herman over to Torres. Down to Fish. And across the back Wilson. Back to Fish again. Floats it up top. Herman. Now over to Tolkov, quick pass down, Wilson coming out of the back, cutting across, shot missed wide. Fish back there to keep it with Brookline. Now down to 4:22 on the clock here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, almost 3 minutes of possession time for Brookline. They're killing this clock, and Cambridge got to get a little more aggressive here if they want any chance.
Wilson. Pass to Torres. Torres down to Wilson. Wilson jukes around a double team. Pass was blocked. Big time takeaway by Lucas Berman there. Less than 4 minutes to go, but Cambridge not giving up just yet. Berman Throws it ahead, but right into open space, and it's taken away easily by Brookline as Max Delaney runs up with it, throws it to Herman, who gives it now to Torres. A big defensive takeaway, but then a bad offensive giveaway by Cambridge there. Is Brookline going to continue to try and kill clock? Torres sent flying with the hard push there, and he draws another flag as Brookline will get the man-up advantage again. They'll get a chance to kill even more clock here late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, getting too aggressive here for Cambridge, but like you said, Cambridge got that turnover and just they were going into the offensive zone and then just threw the ball away. And Delaney got it back in, and now after 3 minutes of just sitting in your defensive zone, you get the turnover, and now you're back in it with 3:26 to go. I'm not exactly sure what Cambridge was really thinking there.
Honestly, I think Cambridge was just rushing things a little bit. You're down 3 scores, a little less than 4 minutes to go. Your opponent's doing a great job killing clock, and you're like, okay, we got to go, get into the attack end so we can score a quick goal. And they just rushed it a bit too much. Might have thought someone was going to be there that wasn't there on that pass, and it ended up with a bad giveaway. So Brookline just going to hold it, and we're going to be a little lax on the action here for a stretch, it looks like. But now Wilson passing back out. Tolkoff is stopped by Doyle. Another big save from the Cambridge netminder as Brookline decided to try and put the dagger in the heart there, but no dice. Welch passes ahead to Bellows. Bellows throws it up, finds his man. That's Witters. Witters running up, down into the corner. They don't have a lot of time to try and set up a play. They got to get some scores happening fast. Welch's pass misses Berman, and another rough turnover by the Falcons with 2.5 to go. It'll be Brookline ball. And Brookline just trying to put the final finishing touches on what looks like it's going to be their first win of the year. Long pass up to Carr, now across to Torres. Torres thought about the shot, decided against it. Is Brookline going to hold it and kill some more clock? And a timeout being called, I believe, by Brookline here as they're going to, as the two teams going to strategize their final 2 minutes of this contest. And, you know, like you said, Nico, fantastic all-around day for Brookline, but especially on the defense, the way they have limited Cambridge's ability. And again, you got to give your proper props to Dylan Katz. You know, the day he has had. I mean, if even 2 out of the 3 breakaway goals that he stopped goes into the net, this is a 1-goal game, and we're commentating this with a completely different tone of voice. And Cambridge would be playing their offensive game completely different. They'd be playing with a lot more patience if they only needed 1 goal instead of 3. So you got to give a lot of credit to Dylan Katz, as well as the offensive combination of Tolkoff, Wilson, and Torres, as similarly, even 1 goal fewer, and this is that much tighter of a game.
Yeah, totally. And honestly, I think really it's just come down to the fact that give the props to Dylan Katz, but Jesse, this Brookline defense has looked a lot stronger than what we've seen before. They've been able, even though Goldstein's had some great chances, they've just been able to shut them down. I mean, no goals since I think the second, if I'm correct on that, and they've just done a good job shutting them down, and that's been a key factor in this game too. I mean, definitely give your props to Dylan Katz, but this has been an all-around great team effort for Brookline.
Great defensive adjustment for sure. 4 goals scored by Goldstein in the first half. Since then, he has not scored. They've gotten 2 goals from Wiley Welch, but nothing more. Out of the timeout, Wilson breaks through the defense and runs to the back, now spins around, and jukes as he's just dancing away from these defenders, trying to spin off the double team, but he gets tangled up and loses the ball. And it's picked up and knocked right out of the stick of Summersgill as more bodies go flying in this rough and tumble game. And they're going to call a foul on Wilson there as he got tangled up with the Cambridge players. And so it'll be Cambridge ball. Minute 40 left to play. The Falcons still trailing by 3, and they've got to move fast. Bellows with the ball. Jogging across midfield. Bringing it into the attack area himself. Charging in, shot saved by Katz.
Yeah, great foot save there.
Gets his own rebound, pass off the bounce is collected by Shea. Shea gives it to Bellows. Bellows. Pass back, Goldstein. Coming around the back. Looking. Spins off his man. Low shot off the post. And it's recovered again by Katz. Less than a minute to go. And the countdown is on. Brookline on the verge of their first win of 2025 as Haas throws it up to Was. Was up to Torres, and Brookline now just going to hold it. 30 seconds to go, and they lead by 3. Torres, his defender, stumbles, and he's just holding it. 20 seconds to go. Torres gets taken to the ground, but still holding the ball as he gets swarmed by 3 defenders and still escapes like Houdini and still being chased. The ball finally knocked loose, picked up by Green, but it's too late. They did not need double overtime this year. Brookline once again gets their first win of the season against Cambridge. The final score here at Downs Field, the Brookline Warriors 9, the Cambridge Falcons 6.
Well, Jesse, it's been a long time coming this season, and finally Brookline gets the win they've needed, getting on the win column, and still has eyes on a possible playoff berth. But honestly, Jesse, this has been an all-around team effort. Both offensive and defense side of the balls look so much stronger than we've seen all season, and all props to Dylan Katz. He's just played unbelievably this game and all season. So give props to Dylan Katz, but all in all, it was a great team effort here from Brookline.
Final individual stat totals. Unfortunately, we don't have save numbers for the goalies, as both Dylan Katz and River Doyle gave quite the valiant efforts between the pipes for their teams today. For scoring for Cambridge, Owen Goldstein, 4 goals, 1 assist. All 4 goals coming in the first half as the Brookline defense adjusted well to Goldstein's offensive abilities. Wiley Welch scored 2 goals in the second half for Cambridge. Lucas Berman getting 1 assist. But for Brookline, Manny Tolkoff having himself a day with a team-high 5 goals. Ryan Wilson with 2 goals and 3 assists. Leo Torres with 2 goals to round out the scoring for Brookline. And that is going to wrap up this broadcast here. Brookline improves to 1-9 on the season. Cambridge falls to 4-6. And we're going to wrap things up here. Alongside Nico Wise, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. We want to thank you all for watching this broadcast today. We want to thank our local sponsor for today, Esch Dental. The team at Esch Dental understands dental anxiety. Some patients just need a friendly face to put them at ease. Others need the help of additional gases or medications. Dr. Esch and his team can help you wherever you are on the journey to find a solution to manage dental anxiety. Call 617-566-0103 or go online to eschdental.com to find out more and book your appointment. Once again, 617-566-0103 or go online to eashdental.com. You can find all that information in the description section down below. You can also find the link to the official Venmo account of the Friends of Brookline Lacrosse Booster Club. And you can also find the links for our local charity spotlight, Brookline Cares, down there in the description section. And further down in the description section, you can find some links related to me, that you can also see in the bottom right corner of your screen. My personal website, jessesports.com. If you want to find out more about me, the freelance sports broadcasting services that I provide to various teams and how you can commission those services for your favorite team, or if you want to skip past all that, you can email me directly with any questions, requests, or comments that you may have. And don't forget to follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook, where I post highlights from previous live streams. But for this live stream, that's going to do it. Brookline 9, Cambridge 6. From Downs Field in Brookline, Massachusetts, alongside Nico Wise, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Thank you all for watching, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.